we're going to talk about something really personal today: your safety, your trust, and some of the quiet changes that happen inside our brains as we get older. We're going to dive into the science of why our instincts can sometimes feel, well, a little different. And more importantly, we're going to lay out a clear, practical guide to help you reclaim that solid sense of security so you can move through the world with complete and total confidence. Let's get started.
Does that sound familiar? Have you ever been in a situation and only later thought, my alarm bells should have been going off, but they just weren't? If you have, you're absolutely not alone. And I want to be clear, it has nothing to do with how smart you are or how much life experience you have. What you're sensing is a real, documented change in your brain. It's a quiet shift, but understanding it is the very first step toward building a new and honestly a much more reliable line of defense.
So here's our roadmap. First, we'll look at the biology inside your brain. Then we'll talk about how the outside world can sometimes take advantage of that biology. After that, we'll shift gears and introduce a really powerful new way to think about trust, and I'll give you some practical tools you can start using today. And finally, we'll reframe this whole thing as a true mark of wisdom and leave you with one simple, empowering idea.
Okay, let's start where this whole story begins. Not out there in the world, but right inside your own head. Now, this isn't about becoming a more suspicious person. It's about becoming better informed about your own internal hardware. We talk about gut feelings or intuition like it's some kind of magic. It's not. That immediate, deep-down sense that something or someone is just off, that's a powerful survival tool. And scientists have actually pinpointed exactly where it comes from in the brain. It's a biological function, just as real as your eyesight or your hearing. The part we're talking about is called the anterior insula. Just think of it as your brain's primal smoke detector. For literally millions of years, this little spot has been the source of that uncomfortable, gut-wrenching warning when you face a potential threat. It's what makes the hair on your arms stand up, or gives you that weird sinking feeling. It's a biological alarm bell, designed to protect you way before your conscious mind even knows what's going on.
And here's the crucial point. Researchers have found that as we get into our 60s, 70s, and beyond, that anterior insula just doesn't fire up with the same intensity. As you can see, the alarm bell that used to ring so loudly, it gets quieter. It's not gone, but it is neurologically dampened. That feeling of mistrust becomes much more subtle, which means the old assumption that our instincts will always protect us, it's just not a reliable primary defense anymore.
Now, I really need you to hear this part. This is not a personal failing. It is not a sign that you're in decline or getting weaker. It is a completely normal, natural part of a healthy, maturing brain. You haven't lost a step. Your biology has just shifted its priorities. And acknowledging this change isn't admitting defeat. It's actually practicing a higher form of intelligence, the kind that adapts to your new internal reality.
So, we've got this quiet, biological shift happening on the inside. Let's look at how that interacts with the messy, complicated world on the outside. Because this change doesn't happen in a bubble, and unfortunately, some parts of our world are designed to exploit it.
So, as our brains mature, something really wonderful happens. They naturally start to prioritize emotional harmony and social peace over getting into conflicts. Researchers call this the positivity effect. It's great. We become less interested in drama, more invested in connection. But, and this is a big but, this positive trait has an unintended side effect. It can create a little window of vulnerability because our default settings slowly shifts towards trusting first simply because it feels better.
And this is where that desire for harmony can get, weaponized. It's a concept called predatory politeness. See, most of us were raised to believe that if someone is nice to you, you're nice back. It's the social contract, right? Well, professional scammers and exploiters know this inside and out. They use our own good manners, our desire to just have a pleasant interaction, as a key to the front door. They know a friendly smile can get past our logical defenses way faster than an aggressive demand. Our own good nature can become the very tool used against us. So, that brings us to the core lesson here. If our old alarm system based on feelings is quieter, and the world is ready to exploit our kindness, what on earth do we do? Well, the answer is we evolve. We build a new line of defense. The key is to shift our personal security from being an intuitive feeling to being a structural system. The old way relied on gut feelings, which we now know can be dampened by biology and are super vulnerable to politeness. The new way, it's a clear, consistent, and reliable process. It doesn't depend on how you feel in the moment. And what's so great about this is that a system is designed to protect your good nature, so you can still be a kind person just without the anxiety of being taken advantage of.
And the foundational technique for this new system is something called cognitive friction. It's a brilliant, simple idea. All it is the deliberate mechanical process of slowing down an interaction. You are intentionally putting time and space into a conversation. Why? To give your logical, rational mind, which by the way is as sharp as ever, time to catch up. It's like hitting the pause button on the world, so you can think clearly, away from all that social pressure.
Okay, so that all sounds great in theory, right? But how do we actually create this cognitive friction? Well, this brings us to the most practical part of our discussion, the actual tools you can start using the second this is over. These are your new rules of engagement.
It all starts with adopting what's called a cold contact protocol. This is really just a mindset. For any interaction that you didn't start, a random phone call, a salesperson at your door, a stranger approaching you, your starting point is a baseline of zero trust. Now, this isn't about being cynical, it's just being smart. You're giving yourself what I call sovereign permission, the absolute right to be firm and put your safety above anyone else's request.
And within this new protocol, there is one tool that is more powerful than any other. It is the single most effective way to create that cognitive friction and completely break the spell of predatory politeness. And that tool is a mandatory, non-negotiable delay. 24 hours. This number is about to become your new best friend when it comes to personal security. Think of it as the circuit breaker that protects your entire house from a power surge of social pressure. Here's exactly how you use it. It's called the 24-hour rule. Step 1. You just calmly say, I have a personal policy of never making decisions on the spot. Step 2. You institute that mandatory 24-hour waiting period. Step 3, and this one is critical, you consult a safety partner, a trusted friend, a family member, anyone, and just run the situation by them. And finally, step 4, you only make a decision after those 24 hours are up, once the social pressure is completely gone. This process lets you escape what's called the reciprocity trap, that feeling that you have to say yes just because someone was nice to you.
I know. Putting these systems in place can feel a little weird at first. It might even feel a bit rude. And that's exactly why this next part is so important. We have to reframe this new approach not as a burden, but as a profound mark of wisdom.
Let's just remember why this is all happening. That internal alarm is getting quieter not because your brain is failing you, but because it has matured. It's moved beyond the constant suspicion of its younger years. You've reached a point in your life where you rightly value harmony and connection. That's not a weakness, that's a profound sign of emotional wisdom. You've earned that peace of mind.
Look, adopting these systems isn't about becoming a cynical person or hiding from the world. It is the exact opposite. Think of these rules like a state-of-the-art security system for the beautiful life of kindness and connection you've worked so hard to build. They allow you to engage with the world confidently and generously, because you know your core is safe. Your kindness can finally be a gift you choose to give instead of a vulnerability that can be taken. Okay, let's bring it all home. Let's distill everything we talked about down into one simple, powerful takeaway. The one idea you can carry with you that really sums up this entire strategy. After all of this, the biology, the psychology, the practical rules, what's the one sentence that really truly matters? What's the core principle of sovereign safety? This. This is it. Because your internal alarm is naturally quieter, your external boundaries have to be intentionally louder. Real safety at this stage of life comes from verification, not from vibes. It comes from a process, not just from intuition. Your boundaries are the new alarm system, and you are in complete control of them.
So here's one last thought for you. Being careful is an act of self-respect. It lets you remain the open-hearted, secure, and vital person you are. By using a simple system like the 24-hour rule, you take the burden of protection off of your feelings and you place it onto a process. And when you have a plan, you no longer have to worry about being too nice. You can walk through the world with an open heart and a secure, sovereign mind. Thank you for listening.